Hi, thank you so much for checking this out. This is Shaquille, and what I'm going to be doing today is giving you guys an overview, a brief overview of what we're going to be doing. This presentation is a little bit about our methodology, our strategy, some statistics, and we're going to go over outreach methods and some basic schools of thought of what we follow and why you should be pursuing your strategy in the way that we suggest. Again, this is going to be a brief overview. It's going to be very brief. I'm going to go into further details in other presentations. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick look at what we're doing as an agency and a little idea of how we think here. So um, Millennial Leads Services is our website. And we're doing outreach for brands. And, of course, we offer a variety of services, sales consulting, and more. Here's some simple facts. I don't want to read through a screen the whole time, so I will let you guys peer through it, and I'll just go through quickly. 63% of people. So here's some facts about cold calling. First off, 63% of salespeople say that cold calling is what they dislike the most about their jobs. 82% of decision makers think sales reps are unprepared. 94% of businesses suspect that their customer data is inaccurate. Inaccurate data has a direct impact on bottom line of 88%, with the average company losing 12% of its revenue, according to internal results. And a study by Lead Gen drew data from 12 lead generation campaigns across different industries, ultimately indexing more than 100,000 connects by phone and email. And the data revealed that executing a lead program or generation program without investing in accurate data contacts wastes 27% of sales reps' time. And so right here in this particular example, it's 546 hours a year per full-time inside sales rep. Needless to say, you need to know what you're doing before you go into any sort of lead generation campaign, specifically. Some of these are about calling, so I want to go into that because it's actually very interesting what has happened to cold calling, and I'm going to give you a couple thoughts after I go through a little bit of this. So is cold calling dead? So as a marketing channel, I mean, you got to do cold calling. But when is it appropriate and how should you do it? As one of my buddies I was talking to today, Charlie Light, was saying in one of his videos, you can look him up, Charlie Light. He does sales as well. And he was saying that you want to do something called lukewarm calling, which is kind of where you warm up people through automation, email, and etc. I am not going to disagree with what he's saying. I am going to say that there is also another reason that I've distinguished from my experience and from what we've done in our campaigns to see why cold calling / lukewarm calling, I'm kind of putting them together right now just to, in general, even though they are different, just talking about calling in general, why there are also other factors to why there's such a low success rate across industries. Now, is it as effective as it has been in the past? I don't think it has been. So at the same time, so while there is difficulty in cold calling, I don't think there's been a time where there's also been opportunity to save time in the way that we have now and be able to actually strategically place our calls at the right place with the right methodology behind the calling and the right tested marketing, which will allow you to directly reach to the person you need to reach out to. So contact rates, they can vary. From our data, it's like your rates can vary 10 to 15%. Appointment rates can be roughly 3% to 10% of contact rates from what we've seen. I'm going to go into examples in this. I just want you to know these are not concrete, hardcore numbers. These are numbers that I've personally witnessed and I've seen and what we've done. But there are there's always alternative data. My point is just to give you a general point of view, working through success, being in, top of the board for a salesperson, a company that has over 100 people in it, and also working through leads for independent companies in which they were still banking off of my work months and months after I was gone. So, from this, I've done quite a few phone calls. I've done freelancing, and I'm telling you that what we're doing, it works. These numbers are pretty general. The typical appointment rate is like 1% or less on most cold calling campaigns. It's just what people see, right? So you say, why would you do it? You want to get yourself a good cold caller, and those numbers may triple, quadruple, and around half of those will turn into appointments, follow-ups from what you're doing. So it's I'll go into an example, but here's my point. Unless you have a good cold caller in place, a good closer in place, and ways to keep your lead engaged, and the right strategy to reach the right people within a shortened span of time, actually. You want to do it in a particular time. This strategy leads to failure 99% of the time. And so we're going to tell you what the differentiating factors are and how you can actually implement a strategy for your calling, for your leads that works. So why do we still cold call? Simple. In some situations, cold calling is not only a tool to be used, but it's necessary. I was working with some independent brokers. A lot of independent brokers still have to call across the board. And it's like, I'm calling B2B. A lot of times you're not going to get the direct response that you can get from a cold calling campaign. And you're not going to be able to reach a decision maker as quickly using alternative methods. LinkedIn's great, but not everybody has it. Emails are great, but not you. Now you've got into a whole different category, and we can go into that. I definitely want to go into some of that and help you pad your processes. But with email, it's very effective. It works if you know what you're doing. And the tough part is know what you're doing. It's not something you learn overnight. There's a lot of rules. There's things you have to follow, and there's ways that you cultivate. So what we're going to talk about in a little bit, and I'll keep this as brief as I can, is that data is important. And that's the main thing I'm getting to right now. Why? Because I think it's the first thing we have to tackle. And that's why I want to present to you in this. We have much more that we provide, but I want to keep my focus on a couple of things that I notice are issues for a lot of people. So your success highly depends on your contact rate, and poor contact rates can be, hedged with a good strategy. I'll give you some numbers that we've gotten. And name dropping, here's one. Name dropping and what you're able to do with data can change your statistics tremendously. So here's the typical scenario for us, what we've seen. This is with the average according to the SOAR selling method, and they're very big. So actually, some of the largest training for cold calling. You can look at them up at SOAR selling, SOAR. And I've done this strategy to a T. It works. I was trained on this strategy through alternative groups, and I didn't know that this was the methodology. But it actually ended up being the same thing, and I learned it when I read the book. I was like, I could write this. In the most modest way possible. It's very fundamental stuff that you drill in your brain and you know it. I'm telling you, that book is the same. It's the same thing that we do. It's the habit you have to drill in there that takes the time, and that's why I'm saying take this headache and just if you want to hire us, totally. We're looking for clients every day. We're screening certain clients for pro bono work. And then there's also different opportunities for smaller campaigns or to see what we can do. So when you ask what is it right now, I'm selling the data. But again, we do have consulting in general. I want to hear your problems. I want to hear what you're dealing with because I'm also doing market research. So typical scenario, 40% bad data. What we've seen is, okay, we can do it. We have 100 calls. We're getting 18 connects. On average, let's say you're doing good. You got a good caller in place. You're getting 10% of those or something like that you've been able to set up appointments with that day. Now you got 1 to 2 appointments. With ours, we're saying you're going to have certain things. Now, this is also not just data. Remember, you're also taking consulting to make sure that you can implement this data correctly, because we don't just want to give you leads and now I hear it all the time. I got leads. They're not working. this is not about the leads. It's about the strategy to make sure that people actually know who you are. They're actually they're getting the value. Your elevator pitch is there. So when you talk to them, it's like, boom, okay, I talked to this guy and the CEO. I went straight to the CEO. We're gonna give you a strategy to go straight to the CEO. The CEO is then gonna redirect you down to the person who you need to speak to. And it's a really cool, it's a CEO bunt strategy. There's a lot of things that we do, but the main point is that this is how it works. This is how it's been working for the people who are doing it right. It's just very few people know how to do that. So with our data, we're saying you're going to get more connects. With our information, you're going to get more, appointments. You're not doing the prospecting. Now, would you spend an extra hour on the phone if you're getting appointments all day? Of course. So you may end up spending 5 hours instead of 4 hours, but you're not prospecting. You're setting more appointments. Now, look, we're getting you potentially triple the appointments. Your results will always vary, but I'm telling you, we're going to improve your results. That's a guarantee. So does this data only work for cold calling? Like I was talking about email? Of course not. The information you're getting, we can depend on all sources. You can go to Experian. You can go to a bunch of SaaS companies that are selling data. Awesome. Are they going to get you, as detailed of information? Is there still going to be holes in their data? Yes. I've tried it. I know all the sources. You're still going to need a consultant to tell you who the data you should get, what kind of data for. I mean, I've looked at industry after industry, what kind of data. I will be compiling reports. I would give that some time, but I will be compiling reports. But here's the thing. If you're getting a contact level data, company level data, etc., you're going to want to talk to somebody who knows about this stuff. We definitely have the expertise for you. Everything you're doing is the same process. So right here, you're getting the company information. You're getting to past the gatekeeper. They send you up to the CEO. The CEO sends you back down to the person who heads the department. And you say right here that if my data is incorrect, look, it's not recommended that you go with your list that you're getting for free. I mean, you're already spending money with your rep that you're paying to do the calls for you because you're probably not doing the calls yourself. And if you are, now you're using your time. If it's okay to call and ask who the appropriate person is to talk about X initiative, it's okay. This is a tip for you guys. It's okay to call and say, I'm looking for John, director of whatever. We're talking about this X, thing that we're doing. But if you don't have that person's name, that's incorrect data. So I can't use this strategy and soar through what I need to be doing without this data. And so you may say, let me just go to a data provider. First off, you're paying an arm and a leg. All right. I'm telling you right now, you're paying an arm and a leg for that data. I can definitely append data. It's right now, it's dirt cheap. I don't even know what my rate's going to be, but it doesn't matter. I'm here to help you. And I'm here to get the best research on what everybody really needs so I can start to tailor everything to that. Here's an obvious one. When is cold calling appropriate? Well, it seems obvious, but here's the thing. You really have to keep in mind your strategy is supposed to be something that you use with a goal in mind. But when you're hearing it from yourself versus when you hear it from other people, it's totally different because you are like, here, we're calling, we're asking for this, we're doing this, we're doing this. But when you hear it from a third person perspective, it's not sounding like you're trying to set an appointment. It's sounding like you're doing some educational based thing that doesn't have anything to do with it. And I don't need that all the time. So you have to know what to say, when to say it, how to say it. And we definitely work on that. Now, there's places where you can get your list. You can either buy one from a provider, bring your own, build your own. I don't recommend, but you could. It's very possible to eventually, after a long time, get some good quality lists, or have us build a list for you. Alternatively, if you have your own data and you bring your data to us, we can also do the cleaning. We can also set up your data so that it's segmented, everything that you need. So, going into it, we cover all aspects of selective selling. You're going to have to discover, and you're going to have to be doing validation on it. You're going to want to know what the best avenues for your business is, how to grow it, what channels, and creative. So here's the thing. We have branding services available. We've built multiple different branding campaigns. It's just a result of being in the industry and working with so many things all the time. And it's like, look, I need a logo done. And, here's some things that we've done. I've got access to complete teams that can go out there and say, okay, well, first off, we could get your website optimized. We can get leads captured on your website. They could be opted directly from your inbound leads. Now you already have inbound leads that we can then get to be contacted. Now you don't have to do that as cold. So you can go into that warm selling strategy. But if you don't have that foundation, we can't really talk about that yet, can we? So my point is that we can help you guys with the whole process of getting this stuff started. If there's anything here that you heard that really piques your interest, I really suggest you reach out. We're offering 25 free leads. If you are looking for them, I just want to have a conversation with you, know what you're doing, and ensure that we can collaboratively work together. But again, it's a risk-free offer for you guys. Last part, I'm testing this out, but hey, I want to help people, and that's what I'm doing this for. And I want to help people be effective with what they're doing. Because when your sales reps are not empowered, your company's not growing, and there's no more for the rest of us, right? I want to be there and provide support for you guys and say, look, I know your company needs somebody to help train your team. You're hiring these guys, constantly hiring. If you can't hire on 20 new sales reps in the next month, or even less in the next week, how are you really going to take on all these added leads if you have the ability and you say, wow, now I'm getting more business? Well, I'm working on something for that, and I want to know how that can most effectively work for you. And so that's why I'm working with people on some new campaigns and things that we're doing. And again, I'm going to need to have a conversation, but this is something that we're testing out. And so I'm really excited, and I can't wait to speak with you. If any of this resonates with you, please reach out, and I'm excited. So anyways, thank you so much.